Let's be real. If you've been paying any attention to the music scene lately, you know something huge has happened in P-pop. It's so big you can basically split the timeline in two, before SB19 and after SB19. So today, we're going to break down how one group didn't just blaze a trail, they completely rewrote the rules for an entire industry.
So how on earth did one group pull this off? This isn't just a story about a band getting popular. No, this is about how their very specific choices and their wild, unprecedented success created a shockwave that changed the sound, the standards, and the business of P-pop forever.
To really get their impact, you gotta rewind a bit. Think about the before times. The ambitions for P-pop were, well, they were different. A big win was hitting the top of the local charts, maybe landing a regular gig on a TV network. But global recognition, that felt more like a nice thought than a real, actual strategy. And then, everything changed. Suddenly, topping international charts and getting nominated for things like the Billboard Music Awards wasn't just some crazy dream. It became the new benchmark. The ceiling wasn't just raised, it was completely obliterated. And the scale of this change is just wow. Check out this number, 8. This pretty much sums up their total domination at home. At the P-pop Music Awards, SB19 snagged 8 major awards in a single night. A clean sweep. That wasn't just them being part of the scene. That was them telling everyone they were now leading it.
Okay, how about this one? 2. That's how many back-to-back nights they sold out the massive Filipino arena. Now, before SB19, a local group even attempting that would have seemed insane. This proved their fan base wasn't just a bunch of people online. It was a real, massive, and mobilized force.
And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of it. Their story isn't just about breaking records, it's about creating a whole new model, a blueprint that showed every artist coming after them a totally new way to make it. And that blueprint? It's really built on 3 fundamental truths.
So let's dive into truth number 1, which was the first and most obvious change. They completely raised the bar for what a performance could be. This is where you saw the change, right there on the stage.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? For a long time in the industry, the standard was kind of just good enough. But SB19 showed up with a level of precision, of polish, that was just on another planet. It forced literally everyone, other artists, the labels, and even the audience, to start expecting way, way more. So what did this new standard actually look like in practice? Well, it was built on what's been called a spirit-breaking training system, similar to what you see in the K-pop world. The focus was relentless. We're talking world-class, perfectly synchronized dance moves, all while maintaining rock-solid vocals. They made it crystal clear. If you want to compete globally, you gotta put in the hours.
And this became the new mantra. SB19 proved that being talented is just the starting line. That's the bare minimum. The real, game-changing success, that's built on thousands of hours of intense, grueling, disciplined practice. Your work ethic suddenly became just as important as your raw ability.
Okay, so the second piece of their blueprint had nothing to do with being on stage. It was about power. This next disruption happened behind the scenes, in the boardroom, and it was a massive gamble that totally flipped the script on how P-pop artists do business. This was the move that sent shockwaves through the industry. Instead of going the traditional route and relying on a major record label, SB19 took a massive risk and bet on themselves. They formed their own company, 1Z Entertainment, and just like that, they became their own bosses, their own managers, their own financiers, their own creative directors. It was a huge, honestly terrifying leap of faith.
And the difference is just night and day. The old model, right? You had to wait for the gatekeepers, a big label, a TV network, to decide you were worthy. You were waiting for permission. The SB19 model just bypasses all of that. They proved you could build a global career by going straight to your fans.
So why did this crazy risk actually pay off? Well, their success proves something really powerful about our digital world. Having a real, genuine connection with your fan base, with their team, is way more powerful than any giant corporate marketing machine. That authenticity, that became their superpower. Which brings us to their third and maybe the most powerful disruption of all. This one wasn't about how they performed or how they ran their company. It was about who they are. This was the identity revolution. You know, early on, a lot of people tried to write them off with that easy K-pop clone label. But SB19 didn't just shrug it off. They systematically tore that label apart by leaning hard into their Filipino roots. They stopped trying to fit into someone else's mold and started creating their own.
And you can hear it right in their music. I mean, take songs like Mapa, which is this beautiful, heartfelt tribute to parents, a cornerstone of Filipino values, or Gento, which is full of clever Filipino wordplay about earning your success. This wasn't just a gimmick. This cultural pride became their signature sound.
This quote just perfectly captures their entire revolution. They showed the world, but more importantly, they showed the local industry that the way to get global attention isn't to imitate, it's to be original. They proved that our language and our stories have a place on the world stage.
So, when you put all three of these truths together, the insane performance standards, the independent power move, and the revolution in identity, what you get is a legacy that has completely redefined what's even possible for a Filipino artist.
And the results of this blueprint, they speak for themselves. From winning International Group of the Year down in Brazil to making history as the very first P-pop act to be included in the pre-voting for South Korea's massive KBS Music Bank, they just keep smashing every ceiling people thought existed.
Ultimately, their legacy isn't just about the awards they've won. They didn't just politely open a door for other artists to walk through. No, they took a sledgehammer to that door and broke it down, creating this wide-open highway for a whole new generation of ambitious P-pop artists.
Which leaves us all with one final question to chew on. SB19 created the blueprint for global success. They lay the entire foundation. The real question is, who's going to build on it next?